Okay, tzatziki. This is the traditional, famous, and age-old sauce, garlic sauce, yogurt garlic sauce that goes fantastic not only with shish kebab and Greek salad, but all kinds of Mediterranean dishes, all kinds of Middle Eastern dishes. So it's good to know how to make tzatziki. It's ridiculously expensive in the store. Like 3 ounces is $5. It's crazy. It is really way overpriced for what it is. So here's what's basically in tzatziki. There's going to be yogurt. I'm going to use Durley chopped garlic, one of my favorite products, and life is too short for me to chop my own garlic. This is excellent and I use it all the time. One of the major things that you're going to need in order to make fairly thick tzatziki is cheesecloth. And hilariously, you can find cheesecloth in your grocery store. It's not complicated. Canadian Tire also carries it. You don't need to go very far to find cheesecloth, but the last time I went looking for it at the grocery store, I looked in the baking aisle, I looked in the cleaning aisle where the paper towel was, and finally somebody from the store came to help me, and we located it hanging next to the toilet paper. And both the woman who worked at Sobeys and myself were scratching our heads saying, why would anybody put cheesecloth with the toilet paper? It's the last place you'd be using it, if not in the kitchen, if not for cleaning or something else. But anyway, it's like 99 cents a package. It's very inexpensive. You throw it away when you're done with it. There's no saving cheesecloth. And it could actually happen that if you didn't have cheesecloth, you might use a J cloth. Although I think cheesecloth is better. It's more porous. It's cotton. You're not going to worry about whatever chemicals or fabrics or whatever else might be touching your food. So I'm going to open this about 10 cents worth of cheesecloth, and then I'm going to actually fold it over. Okay, just to kind of, it's pretty stuck to itself when you take it out of the package. So here's cheesecloth, and I am using it to line a colander. Okay, so there you go. Cheesecloth lining a colander, as Greek housewives have been doing for millennia. And then you take, this is Balkan, here, let me actually get this out of the way. This is Balkan style yogurt, original Balkan style yogurt. I don't use anything but Astro Original Balkan. Now you might have a thicker, more favorite yogurt that you want to use, but this is the one that I have found works consistently over time, okay? So the yogurt goes into the colander with the cheesecloth, and you'll actually be surprised at how much moisture comes out of the yogurt. Quite a bit. And again, the traditional Greek housewife way, well, I'd be making my own yogurt if I was a traditional Greek housewife. My neighbor Sylvia spent years trying to convince me that it was really easy to make my own yogurt. I never bought into that, but quite a bit of liquid is going to pour out the bottom of this colander, which is why I leave it on a plate. The traditional way to do this is that you tie the cheesecloth to the faucet of your sink and allow the liquid to pour out under the weight of the cheesecloth. That's one way to do it. I actually am always a little bit nervous about leaving dairy products out of the fridge overnight, or meat or anything else that might be growing bacteria, so I don't recommend that. What I do is I put it in a colander on a plate to catch the liquid, or a pie plate to catch the liquid, and I put it in the fridge overnight. There's actually like quite a bit of liquid coming out of this already. I'm going to dump that in the sink. Okay, and I'll show you a trick to replace tying it to the faucet of the sink, which is probably, I'm sure, as God intended, the best way to make yogurt. I'm going to tie it to a wooden spoon and twist it so that with every twist it becomes tighter and more liquid comes out. So in addition to the yogurt, which is draining in the colander, and the cheesecloth, I'm going to put in the cucumber that we just grated. Okay, quite a bit of water came out when I squeezed it with my hands, but more is going to come out as it sits in the fridge overnight, or for a couple of hours. The recipe calls for overnight. I usually consider myself to be lucky if I can, get 4 or 6 hours in. So here we have the Balkan style yogurt and the cucumber, which I've squeezed. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a wooden spoon. Here, I'll use this one. I'm going to take the cheesecloth and tie it opposite corner to opposite corner. So there's one. Okay, and then I'll tie the other corners. So there's 2. So the yogurt and the cucumber are inside of the cheesecloth, and then you put a wooden spoon across the top and tie it that way. Once again, and that lifts the cheesecloth with the yogurt and the cucumbers up off the bottom of the colander, and it kind of serves the same purpose as hanging it from the faucet of the sink, but because it's in the fridge, I'm less worried about bacteria growing. So I'm going to let the yogurt and the cucumber drip overnight, or for however many hours I can manage to do so, tied to the wooden spoon and over the colander. And when we come back, it'll be really thick, like really thick, the way you want your tzatziki to be. And it'll be about, I don't know, a third of the price of what you would pay in a grocery store. So there we go. We're letting this drain, and it's going to take a little while. So I'm going to put it in the fridge probably overnight, frankly. But if I didn't have overnight, I would try to do it for at least a couple of hours, okay? And you can see already, oh my gosh, the amount of liquid that's pooling on the plate. Woo! Let's get rid of that. Okay. You know what, actually, I'm going to put this in a pie plate. I've made an executive decision that there's going to be so much liquid, it's going to be germy in my fridge. So I'm putting it in a pie plate. And for sure, the pie plate will catch all the liquid. The yogurt and the cucumbers are dripping on the wooden spoon, and this is going in the fridge. Oh, how creative, eh? Away it goes. It's worth it, though. When everybody in your family loves the tzatziki and they tell you how fabulous you are, you'll do this again. Well, good morning. We're burning daylight. The sun is coming up, and I got to get to Mississauga for 9:30. So I'm now going to tend to the tzatziki. Remember last night we grated and squeezed some water out of the cucumbers, and we put the cucumbers and the yogurt into a piece of cheesecloth, which I folded up and around and tied around a wooden spoon. Put the colander with the cheesecloth in the fridge, and I just wanted to show you how much liquid came out of the cheese, and that was after, we dumped a couple of times yesterday. So that is going to go down the drain. If in fact we wanted to just make sure that I don't actually need the colander for this. If we wanted to make sure that the yogurt was as wrung out as it could be, you can twist the cheesecloth on the spoon just to see if anything else comes out. But you know what? I think it's pretty thick. I don't think it's going to get a whole ton thicker. So what I'm going to do now is open up the cheesecloth. If it's really sticky, I'll just cut it with a scissors. I don't. The cheesecloth is going straight into the garbage, so there's no point in trying to protect it in any way. But so there we go. Now it doesn't look so much like yogurt as it looks like a thick ball of cream cheese. That's how you want your tzatziki to be, thick like that. Okay, so the yogurt, which has been strained, and the cucumber, which has been strained, is going to go into a bowl. There, done. Okay, look at how beautiful and thick that is. That is like you could slice that with a knife. Look at it. Oh, nice. Okay, so that's how you want your tzatziki to be. To that, I'm going to add garlic. Already pre-chopped, dirty garlic. And this is actually packed in a little bit of oil, so when I add the garlic, it's also going to add a little bit of oil. Some tzatziki recipes call for you to add olive oil. I don't know that I would ever do that. it would thin it out again after I just spent all this time thickening it, and it adds calories, and I don't think tzatziki actually needs olive oil, but there is a little bit in the garlic, so that does it for me. If your recipe calls for olive oil, then go for the gusto. And I am going to add a bit of salt. The yogurt has no salt, and it's pretty bland without salt. Okay. And I'll taste it again when I'm done to make sure it tastes the way tzatziki is supposed to taste. So we're now just blending in the cucumber, the yogurt, the garlic, and the salt. That is tzatziki. That's the whole mystery behind tzatziki. Okay. I'm going to give that a nice stir. And when I'm finished stirring this, I store it in the exact same yogurt container I bought it in. So I recognize it when I look at the fridge. Oh yeah, I made tzatziki, I forgot. Usually this gets eaten up in a meal. Sometimes it makes it to day 2. But generally speaking, once you've made a fresh batch of tzatziki and served it with a meal, it doesn't stick around long. So let me just taste that and make sure it's got enough of everything. No, perfect. Nice and garlicky. That's going to be delicious. I don't think it needs any more salt. Okay, great. All right, so those actions, the straining the yogurt, the cucumber, leaving it overnight to drain, mixing the two together with some garlic and some salt, that is it. That's tzatziki. It's done. And this is going to go on the table with the chicken and the village salad, and everybody's going to love it.